a friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction video 571. In the neighborhood. My brothers and sisters. The video that we're about to get into today is about a topic that I feel like is one of the most popular, one of the most hot topics on planet Earth. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, this topic is something that I have talked about with my family over the years, my friends over the years, co-workers over the years, acquaintances, you name it, man. Like, I feel like this is a topic that be in everybody's freaking circle. And I may be exaggerating with the world, but I at least know in the United States that a lot of freaking people talk about this. And this topic in this video is coming from none other than AJ from the White Files. Back to the White Files, y'all. It is that time of the week when we let out our inner geek. And like I was saying, man, check out the topic of this video. Illuminati, Volume 1. The Bilderberg Blueprint and Hidden Agenda of Global Elites. The freaking Illuminati, y'all. And I'm not going to go down a whole rabbit hole with y'all before we start the video. It's already an hour long because I can sit right here for the next hour talking about the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? Already. But I will just say this. I do think the Illuminati is real. Like, I don't know how they really are. I can't tell you exactly what I think what the Illuminati really is. But I do think it's real. I'm already sounding crazy, ain't it? But I don't know, y'all. We just finna get into this video. But before we get into it, my brothers and sisters, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you might need. Get what you need, please. We are back to AJ from the White Files. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's go.
This episode of the White Files is brought to you by Kraken. The year is 2030, and the world is a vastly different place. For years, rumors circulated about secret societies and shadowy organizations controlling global events. But nobody realized the true scope of their power until it was too late. Michael Jansen, a freelance journalist, had always been skeptical of fringe theories. But as he began to investigate further, he stumbled upon a web of conspiracy that threatened to unravel the very fabric of society. Through his research, Michael discovered the secret organizations did, in fact, exist. Over many years, the members of these groups had been slowly consolidating power. The goal was to control every aspect of human life. As their influence grew, so did chaos and upheaval around the world. Economies collapsed, governments crumbled, and the very idea of individual freedom became a distant memory. They told us it was for the greater good. So now, as Michael wanders the streets of the once great city of New York, he can't help but reflect on the events that led to this moment. The signs had always been there, hidden in plain sight. But by the time anyone thought to act, it was already too late.
Get whatever you might need.
Yeah,
Shout out to AJ and Helkafish with their commercials, y'all. But he brought up like what he was just talking about then made me think about something, y'all. What if the freaking Illuminati do just one day just pop up out of nowhere and be like, yes, we've been real this whole time, you know what I'm saying? And now we about to take over the freaking world, and anybody who got a problem with it, yeah, you dead. You know what I'm saying? What if they just pop up out of nowhere, man, and be like, yes, we are the global elites, and it ain't nothing you can freaking do about it. Either follow the rules or die. That'll be the most craziest day freaking ever, man. And a lot of people will die on that day too, because everybody not gonna follow them damn rules. And more than likely, depending on what the rules is, I'm one of them. Real talk. Let's get past AJ commercial, man. Shout out to Kraken. Shout out to Hucklefish again. Let's get into it.
A luxurious hotel in the Swiss Alps becomes a fortress. A convoy of limousines delivers world leaders, billionaires, even royalty. Names like Kissinger, Merkel, Zuckerberg, Soros, Gates, the power brokers of the world. This is the annual Bilderberg meeting.
Yeah, also known as the Illuminati class reunion.
Well, Bilderberg claims it's just a forum to discuss issues concerning Europe and the United States.
I don't buy it.
Well, a lot of people don't. They don't keep minutes or meeting logs. Press is not allowed. No public statements are made. Members are sworn to silence. Why?
Yeah, because when you want to create a one-world government and enslave the human race, it's better to keep that under wraps.
Right. That's the theory. The Bilderberg Group wants to create a single global surveillance state with one currency and a compliant media.
Well, you can check compliant media off the list. They got that one covered.
It is impossible not to reach the conclusion that the non-reporting of these events is anything other than a conspiracy between the organisers and the media. It merely confirms the belief of many that the hidden agenda and purpose of the Bilderberg Group is to bring about undemocratic world government.
If you look closely, you'll see hints, if not blatant evidence of this. Major world events often follow Bilderberg meetings. Brexit shocked the world, but Bilderberg discussed it weeks before. The COVID-19 pandemic emerged after talks about China and a stable strategic order.
We have a new name for the coronavirus. The World Health Organization has officially called it COVID-19.
Climate change is a popular topic at Bilderberg meetings. They want more regulations, a carbon tax, a carbon credit system. Is their concern for the environment genuine? Or do they want to reshape the global economy?
Yeah, that's a rhetorical question, right?
Oh, you don't think they care about
How dare you!
Isn't that bit getting old by now?
Yeah, not to me. I'm gonna make that my ringtone.
Social media censorship and the concern for, quote, misinformation intensified post-Bilderberg. Coincidence? Or an intentional way to control the narrative? In 2008, an unusually high number of bank executives attended. Months later, the global economy nearly collapsed.
Major news overnight, House and Senate negotiators have reached agreement on a massive plan to bail out imperiled financial markets.
Government spent $15 trillion bailing out banks and corporations. Wealthy executives received bonuses while taxpayers footed the bill.
The numbers are in. Wall Street firms are setting aside close to $20 billion for bonuses and compensation benefits. Goldman Sachs, experiencing a spectacular rebound post-government bailout, has already spent nearly $12 billion this year.
So what I'm getting from AJ right now is every time the freaking Bilderberg group have a freaking meeting, you know what I'm saying? When they all group up together, sometime after that, some bad gonna happen to the world. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's money, sickness, whatever. Oh, man. It's so crazy how AJ will have you believe in some of this stuff, y'all. Like, seriously, because you be sent back, you be like, kind of make freaking sense, don't it, when you put it like that?
Did you ever get a thank you note from B of A, Wells Fargo, or Chase?
Nope.
Yeah, neither did I.
All those bankers should be in orange jumpsuits, if you ask me.
I agree. Nobody was ever held accountable for that. But cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin emerged in the aftermath of the crisis and changed the financial landscape. Finally, everybody from rich to poor had access to a currency that didn't rely on corrupt corporations, banks, or governments. All you need is a smartphone and an internet connection to set up a digital wallet and start transacting. Cryptocurrency is a transparent, equitable financial system with no centralized control. But it's the exact opposite of the Bilderberg plan. The Bilderbergers support digital currency, except, of course, they want to control it. They say their oversight will reduce crime and streamline transactions. Okay. Artificial intelligence has been a hot topic at Bilderberg. Suddenly, AI development and investment have exploded.
Right now, they are considering an investment of $10 billion. This, of course, as ChatGPT is a bit of a talk of the town, if you will.
But are these innovations meant to help the public or control it? If Bilderberg wants to create a one-world government, they'll need influential people to execute their plans. They'll need politicians, especially ambitious politicians.
Are there any other kind of politicians?
Good point. Ambitious people are easy to manipulate, and that's a major component of the Bilderberg Group, recruitment. Recruitment for something even bigger.
Even bigger? I don't know what AJ mean by even bigger, but what I gotta say right now is, y'all, when I said earlier, I'll probably be one of them people that die that day when they come out and say, yes, we taking over the world. If they freaking rule is we gonna have one government and the whole world gonna be ruled by what we say. Oh no, I'm checking out. And I'm gonna try to take one of y'all with me, you evil mother. You know what I'm saying, man? That'll just be crazy. But it's also crazy the effect that they could possibly be having on controlling the whole narrative and things that we do in our everyday life or things that happen in our everyday life. You never know. Let's keep going. York City.
Michael Jansen hunched over his desk, engulfed by a sea of newspaper clippings and the eerie glow of multiple screens. His eyes, bloodshot from endless hours of research, darted between fragments of information. As a veteran journalist, Michael had always been able to see the patterns in the chaos of world events. But lately, those patterns started pointing to something far more sinister than he'd ever imagined. The global push for a single digital currency was accelerating. Meanwhile, established cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin were being attacked and maligned with false propaganda. A centralized digital currency called Unity Coin was proposed. It promised stability, security, and regulatory oversight. But Bitcoin was already stable, secure, and regulated. So why did we even need Unity Coin? Well, every transaction made with Unity would be tracked and recorded. Each purchase, no matter how mundane, would contribute to a comprehensive digital profile of the user. Buy a book on civil disobedience? That's logged. Purchase medication for a certain condition? Noted. Donate to a political cause? Recorded. Over time, the records of these purchases would create a very accurate digital fingerprint of an individual's habits, beliefs, and potential actions. The algorithm could predict with terrifying accuracy whether someone was likely to participate in a protest based solely on their digital fingerprint. The implications were chilling. If certain items or patterns of consumption were deemed dangerous to the New World Order, individuals could suddenly be cut off from the Unity Coin system, effectively rendering those people economic outcasts. But the surveillance didn't stop there. Law enforcement agencies could potentially use these digital profiles to justify searches and arrests. If your digital fingerprint were similar to people considered threats to the state, you would be considered suspicious and guilty by algorithmic association.
This is getting crazy, man. You basically could get locked up. Long story short, story long, go to jail for a crime you never committed. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even committed no freaking crime. Just because of your transactions with this unicorn, or what it called? Unity coin? Unity coin. COIN. You know what I'm saying? Just because of your transaction with that, now these people gonna depict you as a bad guy, outcast you from the rest of society, or potentially put you in jail. Hell, they'll probably kill you. That'll probably be the next thing that AJ say. Oh no, if this is real, I'm telling y'all, I'm out. If this was to be real one day, I'm out.
We were told that our civil liberties were being eroded under the guise of security and public health. The recent Global Harmony Act was a big red flag for Michael. As Michael connected these dots, he couldn't shake the feeling that these events were connected, somehow tied to the secretive meetings of groups like Bilderberg, the push for global governance, the consolidation of the media, and even the shifts in education. From grade school through college, students were being subtly indoctrinated to acquiesce to this new world. To Michael, these all seemed to be pieces of a larger puzzle, pointing towards centralization of control. In his mind, he heard the voice of his editor over and over. Stick to the facts, Michael, stick to the facts. But as he stared at his evidence board, red strings crisscrossing between seemingly unrelated events, Michael knew that sometimes the truth lurked in the spaces between the facts, in the patterns that emerged from the chaos. He also knew that sometimes chaos was just chaos. Was he on the verge of uncovering the story of the century? A vast conspiracy that threatened the very foundations of individual freedom? Or was he losing himself in a labyrinth of his own making, seeing connections where none existed? Had he become another one of those, quote, conspiracy theorists? Maybe. Still, Michael Jansen couldn't shake the feeling that he was standing on the precipice of a world-altering revelation. But in a world where the line between truth and paranoia was becoming increasingly blurred, could he trust his instincts? He knew the answer, of course, and it terrified him. Because that answer could change everything.
And that's the thing that Michael going through is something that all of us as conspiracy theorists go through. You know what I'm saying, man? Well, you start to question, like, hold on, am I taking it too freaking far? Am I thinking too hard about this? Am I even being realistic at this point with some of this ish that's in my thoughts and that I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We have all been there. I don't know, but all I'm gonna say is, Michael, I feel like you're on to something now. I feel like anything is possible, bro. So let's just keep going and find out how deeper you get with it.
Bilderberg meetings have been known to transform obscure people into global powerhouses. Margaret Thatcher and Tony Blair were fairly minor political players. Not long after attending a Bilderberg meeting, they became prime ministers. Angela Merkel wasn't very well known. A few months after Bilderberg, she was Germany's first female chancellor. In France, Emmanuel Macron went from banker to president. In Italy, Romano Prodi went from professor to prime minister. Pedro Sanchez became Spain's prime minister without an election.
Mariano Rajoy has been ousted as Spain's prime minister after a no-confidence vote, with Socialist Party leader Pedro Sanchez taking his place.
After a Bilderberg meeting, Jens Stoltenberg became Norway's prime minister and is now the Secretary General of NATO. Ursula von der Leyen jumped from German defense minister to leader of the European Union.
Sorry about that. Hold on, let me put that on silent. My bad. Yeah, go ahead.
So Bilderberg has Europe covered. What about the United States? They recruit from there too. What does the governor of Arkansas have to do with international policy? Why was he at a Bilderberg meeting in 1991? Nobody knows. But a few months later, Bill Clinton announced his run for president.
To provide that proven leadership is our challenge in 1992, and that is why today I proudly announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America.
By 1993, he was in the Oval Office.
Oh, you know who else was in his office?
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have...
We don't joke about the Clintons.
Fine. Devil with the blue dress, blue dress, devil with the blue dress on. What?
In 2008, Barack Obama was in a fierce battle with Hillary Clinton for the Democratic presidential nomination.
I did not mention his name.
Your husband did.
Well, I'm here. He's not.
Okay, well, I can't tell who I'm running against sometimes.
During the campaign, he attended a Bilderberg conference, which raised questions. Why was this inexperienced politician mingling with the global elite? Nobody knows. But a few months later, he clinched the presidency. Kristen Sinema, a little-known congresswoman, attended in 2018. Then she became a pivotal U.S. senator. This pattern spans decades. Maybe the Bilderbergers simply have an eye for talent.
Nope.
Maybe these people rose so quickly because they were extremely intelligent and competent.
Nope.
Or maybe they were handpicked for roles in an even more exclusive, secretive, and powerful organization.
Yahtzee.
The Bilderberg Group focuses on the United States and Europe. But to create a one-world government, you'll need to influence nations around the world. It's been rumored that Bilderberg is a vetting process, an audition for a role in an organization that nobody really knows about, but has tremendous global influence, the Trilateral Commission.
I know this is going to be kind of like a random or crazy question, y'all, but I'm just wondering, man, after hearing that Clinton and freaking Obama was involved with Bilderberg, has freaking Trump ever been with them? You know what I'm saying, man? Trump seemed like he'll fit right in with them. I don't know. And it's also crazy that Bill Clinton and Obama was the last two. Well, no, I was about to say they was the last two Democrat presidents of the United States, but Joe Biden, he just won, and now he quit, and now Kamala finna... We not gonna get into all the politics stuff, but all I'm wondering, like, man, this seems like a group that Trump would love to be a part of. Like, seriously, I ain't even joking, y'all. It's crazy, man. It seems like all these people, they chilling and hanging with the Bilderbergs, then all of a sudden they get these high positions. I'm just saying.
Michael Jansen watched the news with a growing sense of unease. In just 2 years, the world had transformed into something he barely recognized. A dystopian reality that seemed ripped from the pages of a science fiction novel. The global digital currency, Unity Coin, was now the dominant form of exchange. Those who resisted found themselves increasingly marginalized, unable to access basic services. National borders, once fiercely defended, were dissolving. The newly formed Global Council now held more sway than the old UN ever did. Michael's investigations into its members had revealed a web of connections to corporate giants and shadowy think tanks, confirming his worst suspicions about the true nature of this New World Order. Most alarming was the rollout of the Harmony chip. This subdermal implant, no larger than a grain of rice, was being hailed as a miracle of modern technology. It provided better health and security, where your vital signs were constantly monitored, your location always known, and your identity impossible to steal. Though not mandatory, social pressure to adopt it was intense. Celebrities and influencers gushed about the convenience and peace of mind it brought them. News segments highlighted heartwarming stories of lives saved by the chip's health monitoring capabilities. The pressure to conform was immense.
Now, see, this is where we just really going off the deep end where I hope this don't just happen in my lifetime. And it's crazy because AJ is just talking about a couple years from now. But when we get to the point where they trying to goddamn inject us or put chips on us or however they want to do it. When they get to that point, man, where they literally can know where we at all point in times, these damn chips probably know what we be thinking at all point in times. You know what I'm saying, man? Hell no. This is where I feel like we going overboard as far as you just violating me as a damn human, man. Like, seriously, can I be free out here? Yeah, you don't need to know where the hell I'm at all times and everything I'm doing. Like, that chip stuff is something different. Then I feel like if they do put chips in us, they ain't gonna tell us, but it's gonna be something about that chip where they probably could press a button and end our life, where they can influence us to act certain ways. All type of you opening up a Pandora freaking box by injecting human with chips that I don't want to be a part of. Long story short, short story long.
Employers began encouraging their workers to get chipped, hinting at better opportunities for those who complied. Schools implemented chip-based systems for everything from attendance to lunch payments, leaving unchipped children feeling left out. Those who expressed even the slightest concern were labeled paranoid or conspiracy theorists. Michael had lost friends who bought into the propaganda. One by one, they got chipped, each time insisting it wasn't that bad or that he was overreacting. But Michael noticed subtle changes in the behavior of people with the Harmony chip. They self-censored. They were more compliant with authority. They were more docile. One day, an email from a whistleblower revealed to Michael the true nature of the Harmony chip. It wasn't just a passive tracking device. It could influence mood and behavior by causing the body to release certain hormones and chemicals. This could become the ultimate tool of control. As Michael included these latest findings in his story, colleagues had warned him to back off. He'd noticed an unmarked van parked up the street from his apartment. He knew he was under surveillance, but Michael couldn't stop. He was on to something big, something that threatened the freedom of everyone on Earth. Michael was reeling from hours and hours of disturbing rabbit holes and anonymous whistleblowers. He couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out, but he was exhausted. He had to call it a night. As was his routine, he encrypted his research and put the files on his portable drive. Next, he sent the files to his anonymous email address. But anonymous didn't mean what it used to. Sooner or later, his files would be found. And as he hit send, Michael wondered how much time he had left before they came for him.
Yeah, and at this point, I feel like even though he trying to be so freaking secretive with his research of the Illuminati or whatever may have you, at the point that the world in there, man, you can't hide nothing from them. You know what I'm saying? So I would be paranoid like him. But one thing I want to point out to y'all, one thing I want to point out real quick is the fact that like I said, me personally, I couldn't get with this ish. You know what I'm saying? I'll be a rebel and probably end up dead because of it. But there are a lot of people in the world who would be with it. You know what I'm saying? With the single government and all that. And not because they want to, but they'll abide by all the new rules of this single Illuminati government just because they scared. Long story short story long, out of freaking fear of their lives. People out here scared to die. You know what I'm saying, man? And if they gotta go with this new way and put a chip in their brain or do whatever that the freaking Illuminati want them to do, they will do it. And then also the way that the Illuminati manipulating and like benefiting and giving all the benefits to the people that listen to them, while the other people that don't listen to them don't get ish. You know what I'm saying? You heard what AJ said about the children who are with the New World Order and the children who parents not with it. You know what I'm saying? They even get treated differently at freaking school. I digress. We still got a long way to go on this one, y'all. Let's keep going.
The Trilateral Commission says its goal is to foster international cooperation. But there's evidence of a darker agenda, the creation of a global government controlled by a select few. They've actually admitted to this. The Commission released a report in 1975 stating that the U.S.'s major problem is an excess of democracy.
What, they said we have too much freedom?
Yep. They said the United States government should be more centralized and given more power.
So, what's happened to the U.S. government since then?
It became more centralized and was given more power.
Uh-huh.
To create a one-world government, you need to remove borders and erode national sovereignty. The Commission believes nation-states are outdated. Governments could solve problems more efficiently through integration and interdependence. The European Union has the Commission's fingerprints all over it.
Let me ask you something. Do lizard people leave fingerprints?
I am not a lizard.
The Trilateral Commission wants free trade everywhere. Why? To promote economic integration and interdependence. Using a single currency also helps. Created in 1999, the euro is now the official currency of 20 countries and accepted in 13 more. Trilateral Commission members and associates also have their fingerprints all over the 2008 financial crisis. Here are some key players: Robert Rubin, Timothy Geithner, Henry Paulson, and Lawrence Summers. All former bankers and hedge fund managers, and U.S. Treasury secretaries. Plus Ben Bernanke and Paul Volcker. Both were chairmen of the Federal Reserve. By the way, a few of those same men orchestrated the bailout.
Hang on.
What?
Bankers came up with the plan to fix the problem they caused?
Yup.
And the banker solution was to give the banks billions of dollars?
Trillions.
Nobody saw a problem with this.
They said it was necessary to stabilize the economy.
I think this is the most significant financial crisis in the post-war period.
There are fears the sell-off will continue on Wall Street.
I'm going to be continuing to consult with congressional leaders to find a way forward to get something done as soon as possible. We need to get something done.
But it sounds like a calculated move to consolidate wealth and power.
Goldman Sachs, earns $2.3 billion last year. They received $10 billion in taxpayer funds, which we should say they've already paid off. But then they paid out $4.8 billion in bonuses, more than twice what they took in.
The numbers are in. Wall Street firms are setting aside close to $20 billion for bonuses and compensation benefits.
The four top executives of Merrill Lynch took home $121 million in bonuses, Heidi, even as the company lost more than $15 billion in the quarter.
This is just crazy, man. Like, this is taking, what is the terminology, Bean Team? The rich get richer to a whole nother level, man. We talking about billions and trillions of dollars that these people getting. You know what I'm saying, man? Then they not losing no money. Like, they are getting rewarded for their F-ups, so to speak. They effing up and getting rewarded for it in the billions and trillions. What the? It's a dirty, dirty world that we live in.
But the Commission's favorite tool for controlling the world's economy? Climate change.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? What?
They proposed a solution: carbon credits. Every industry, every small business, every person would have a cap on how much carbon they emit. If you go over your limit, you pay a fine, or you buy more carbon credits. Imagine smart meters in every home. Once your credits run out, your heat shuts off. So you freeze or buy more credits.
Yeah, buy them from who?
The transactions would be handled by the banks.
The banks they control.
That's right. They say this system would save the planet. And it might. It would also be a great way to control people, especially the poor and middle class. But how can such radical changes be implemented without public outcry? Mind control. No, not by using chemtrails or putting something in the water. Their mind control is subtle persuasion and distraction and propaganda. But you're not going to fall for propaganda delivered by bankers you've never heard of. The propaganda is delivered by people you already know.
I just got to point out that whole paying for carbon is just one of the most terrible ideas I ever freaking heard of in my life. 2028.
Citizens, if you are not chipped, you aren't just hurting yourself, you're hurting everyone around you. It's for your safety. Get your chip today. Get your chip today.
Michael Jansen huddled in his safe house, surrounded by humming servers and dead drops from his network of whistleblowers. The world outside had become almost unrecognizable. The Harmony chip was now everywhere. The unchipped were outcasts. Without the chip, life was difficult. You couldn't enter a store, board public transport, or even access your own home without the chip signal. Healthcare was off limits, and finding employment was impossible. The chip had become your identity, your wallet, and your key to society. Michael had gone off-grid to avoid it, relying on a shrinking circle of trusted allies. The chip's true purpose, total surveillance and control, was clear to him now. But even as others realized they were being tracked, they were willing to give up their privacy. Living with the Harmony chip was just easier. Besides, if you weren't doing anything wrong, what did you have to fear? And people could be tracked in other ways. Cryptocurrency was once seen as a tool for financial freedom, but no longer. The Global Council had co-opted blockchain technology to create the Unity coin. And, as predicted, every financial transaction was logged and scrutinized. A few people still use decentralized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but no mainstream product or service could be purchased with anything but Unity. Sure, Bitcoin kept its promise, a truly peer-to-peer electronic cash system free from the control of any central authority. But what good is it if no merchant would accept it?
Yeah.
Nations had all but dissolved, replaced by economic zones governed by AI algorithms. These algorithms helped promote the Global Council's agenda, but AI did more than promote policy. It enforced it. Dissent was now classified as a form of mental illness. Those who spoke out against the council were removed from society for their own safety. But Michael had actual hard evidence, and it was damning. He traced the connections from Bilderberg to the Trilateral Commission to the Council on Foreign Relations. He had proof of how they architected this New World Order over decades. The truth had to come out. But publishing was nearly impossible now. All media was centralized. But there were corners of the internet still hidden from the Council. Places where dissenters communicated through encrypted message boards on the deep web. He knew they would get the word out. And as he put the finishing touches on his 5-year investigation, Michael felt a mix of pride and terror. He knew the risks. He knew releasing this information could, and probably would, cost him his life. It didn't matter. This was bigger than just one man. Tomorrow, he would release everything. The world would finally know the truth.
Release it, Michael. Elf it, man. Take it. Take one for the team. Take one for the world. You know what I'm saying, man? I'll give up my life to save the world from ending up like this. This could be a freaking movie, y'all. Like, seriously, man. I'm loving this from AJ. And it's just like, you think about the fact that, because what we in like 2026, 2028, 2030 or something. But you think about that, way back in the day, the freaking government been making this plan all come together, and now it's all coming into fruition. You know what I'm saying, man? And it like I said earlier, it's just so crazy how they would manipulate so many people to actually take that Harmony chip and use the Unity coin. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people would be sucked into that. Oh my God. Let's keep going.
The Council on Foreign Relations, or CFR, has been described as the most powerful private organization in the United States. It influences every level of American government, media, and academia. Its membership is full of power brokers, former presidents, secretaries of state, CIA directors, Federal Reserve chairs, and media billionaires. Some are also members of the Trilateral Commission. Others are also members of Bilderberg. A few are members of all three groups, including architects of the 2008 bailout. The Council's stated mission is to be a resource for understanding foreign policy.
The Council on Foreign Relations is an unbiased, unvarnished view of policy.
But its true purpose seems more profound. Shape American foreign policy in service of a one-world government. The CFR supports international bodies like the UN and the World Bank. It supports SDRs, or special drawing rights. SDRs are a universal currency.
IMF members have access to unconditional liquidity. Unconditional liquidity.
The CFR exists, the Trilateral Commission exists, and it's a, quote, conspiracy of ideas. This is an ideological battle. Some people believe in globalism, others of us believe in national sovereignty.
Like Bilderberg and Trilateral, CFR promotes free trade that benefits multinational corporations. They push for military interventions that serve the interests of the military-industrial complex.
On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. These are opening stages of what will be a broad and concerted campaign.
These groups could easily lay the foundation that leads to world domination. But you can't win hearts and minds on a platform of world domination. The CFR's reach extends beyond politics. Its reach includes Hollywood. Movie stars can shape minds. A famous trusted face can help craft a narrative. They'll use phrases like global unity and global community to make a one-world government seem perfectly normal.
If you want to live in a society that is receptive to new people and ideas and commerce and travel and globalization.
Why is George Clooney so political? He's a member of the CFR. How did Angelina Jolie get so involved with the UN and their humanitarian missions? She's a member of the CFR. Anderson Cooper, George Stephanopoulos, and Leslie Stahl are journalists, but not impartial ones. They're members of the CFR. Now, before you start screaming that the Council on Foreign Relations sounds like a left-wing group, know that Dick Cheney is a member.
It's good to be back at the Council on Foreign Relations. As Pete mentioned, I've been a member for a long time and was actually a director for some period of time. I never mentioned that when I was campaigning for re-election back home in Wyoming.
John Bolton, Condoleezza Rice, and many other prominent Republicans are members of the CFR.
They don't even hide it anymore. You know, the Trilateral Commission, as well as the Council of Foreign Relations. No matter what, which president, which party is in power, they will appoint to the major offices members of these two committees.
For many Americans, politics has become far more personal and divisive than it once was. And now, in the run-up to the November election, that's creating some friction in families.
The problem is focus on social battle. That's part of it. But it's also...
Stop fighting about politics. That's distraction. Using celebrities, that's persuasion. Watch these people closely. Don't let them distract you. Don't let them persuade you. They're following orders, whether they know it or not. The decisions made by Bilderbergers, Trilaterals, and the CFR impact the lives of everyone on the planet. Yet there is no transparency. There is no accountability. And if they achieve their goal, there will be no democracy.
Well, see, that's the thing with me, y'all. Like, none of those freaking celebrities have no freaking, like, influence on my life. You know what I'm saying, man? None of them. I don't give a damn what none of their beliefs is or what they got to say. Is not gonna sway me one way or the other. But there are a lot of people out there that are swayed by them. And see, this what AJ was saying, where he go a little deeper with it. You may not be swayed by freaking who we just seen up there, George Bush and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. You may not be persuaded by them, George Clooney, Angelina Jolie. They may not be your cup of tea, but they got plants. See, they call them plants. They got plants out here in other places within media, not even media. Let me just say it like this. They got plants in freaking music. You know what I'm saying? In the movies, George Clooney. You know what I'm saying? They got plants in Angelina Jolie, but they got other ones too in hip hop. They got plants. I ain't finna go into all that with y'all, man. Some of these people, and I don't know, man. It depends on your age. I'm not even finna get into it. I'm just gonna say this. Depending on your age, you'll know who the plants are and who the plants not. Let's go. 2030.
Michael Jansen shuffled through the puddled streets of New York City. He turned up his collar against the biting wind. This once vibrant metropolis now felt like a ghost town. The towering skyscrapers looked old and tired. Streets were nearly empty. But the skies above were not. Surveillance drones kept a close watch on everything below. Billboards once used for advertising now flashed the latest government directives. It had been 2 years since he'd released his expose and 1 year since the Great Reset. Michael hated that term. The reset was just the final consolidation of power by the global elite. He remembered the day he uploaded his findings to the deep web, and for a brief moment, it seemed like the world would change. His evidence gathered over years proved the connections between the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, and the Council on Foreign Relations. He'd exposed their role in the creation of the Unity coin currency, the implementation of the Harmony chip, and the formation of the Global Council. For a few weeks, the world was chaos. Protests erupted everywhere, but the response was swift and brutal. The Global Council declared a state of emergency. Curfews were implemented. Stay-at-home orders were enforced. Dissent was criminalized. Those who spread misinformation, including Michael's actual evidence, were not just conspiracy theorists. They were labeled threats to democracy. The irony made him furious.
I know, right?
Michael proved that democracy had been replaced by authoritarianism, yet he was the threat. The candidates in the last election, if you can call it that, were members of or supported by the Global Council, the group he'd publicly exposed. The illusion of choice remained, but the outcome was predetermined. Michael's wristband buzzed. He glanced at it as it changed from purple to orange, and then he sighed. His social credit score had dropped again. He needed to be careful. Once your score dipped below a certain level, you were taken to a re-education facility. This was, as always, for your own safety. Michael's stomach growled. But without the Harmony chip, no restaurant would take him. The only place he could find a hot meal and a bed was St. Mary's, one of the few churches left in New York.
just crazy. I'm just sitting right here thinking about the fact that without this chip, the world basically just cut your ass off. You can't even go in McDonald's and get you nothing to eat. You know what I'm saying? You just think about it like that. It's just like, dude, that's when they is just in ultimate control of everything in our lives. And if we ain't with it, they don't care if we die or not. That is freaking crazy.
The Global Council had slowly marginalized religion over the years. It began subtly, with increased taxes on religious properties and restrictions on public gatherings. They cited concerns about social harmony and the need for a unified global culture. The media, under council control, painted religious beliefs as outdated and superstitious. Schools banned religious education as it was uninclusive. Instead, children were taught about the virtues of global citizenship. It also helped that the Harmony chip was able to steer people away from their faith. The truth was, religion was a source of authority, morality, and community outside the council's control. It offered people hope and meaning that didn't align with the council's worldview, and that was a problem. On his way to St. Mary's, Michael passed World Unity Plaza, formerly Times Square. Michael was still amazed at how quickly it happened. The erosion of privacy, the consolidation of corporate power, the gradual surrender of individual freedoms, all in the name of security and prosperity. He tried to warn everyone. He had the proof, but it wasn't enough. Despite the rain, World Unity Plaza was busy. Bright digital billboards showcased the latest achievement of the global government. The headline proudly announced the end of poverty. Sure, there was no more poverty because the word poverty was redefined. Food stamps, housing subsidies, public transportation, and other social services were now part of your earnings. That was added to your universal basic income. Suddenly, those struggling to survive were earning more than before. But that was just on paper.
And then they talking about the end of poverty. They ain't even thinking about the people who don't want to take the chip. You know what I'm saying? Like, those people don't even freaking matter in the world no more. Wow.
He thought the end of poverty sign should be replaced with the end of the middle class. At least that would be the truth. But nobody really cared about the truth anymore. Inside the church, Michael ate his soup at a table with other unchipped people. Churches had become the last refuge for those resisting the New World Order, but he knew churches wouldn't last long. Anything that interfered with, quote, progress disappeared. Michael sounded the alarm and presented his evidence, but it only accelerated the elite's plans. Now, all he could do was try to survive in this illusion as an outcast. Sure, he could instantly improve his life by getting the Harmony chip, using Unity Coin, and raising his social credit score. That's all he had to do to live comfortably. He just wasn't willing to pay the cost. The entire world was given this choice, and they made it. They chose comfort and security. And all it cost them was freedom.
That's what I'm saying, man. I would not give up my fucking freedom for this shit, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be one of them outcasts, y'all. I'm gonna be one of the ones at the damn at the churches eating, you know what I'm saying? Give me a good meal for the day or whatever. Or I might, like I said, end up being dead because I'm not with it. I'm just not with it. I'm not with giving up my freedom for these mother uffers. I did not know we was going anywhere like this in this video. This has been so great, man.
Today's story paints a dark picture of a world controlled by secret organizations. But how much of this is true?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of it is.
The Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, and the Council on Foreign Relations exist. Their members hold powerful positions in government, corporations, and international institutions. Their meetings often coincide with significant global events. Still, a leap to a new world order is a big one. That said, we can't dismiss the idea entirely. Their lack of transparency and concentration of power is a problem that leads to corruption. Members bounce from government to media to think tanks and back again. How can an anchor report the news honestly if their last job was at the White House? They can't, and they don't. Look, cable news isn't news, it's entertainment. Left or right, it doesn't matter. They don't tell you the truth. They're paid to regurgitate propaganda coming from corporate and political leadership.
Who may or may not actually be lizard people.
They want you to argue with your family and your neighbors. While you're on Facebook or Twitter bickering over politics, you're not really paying attention. But here's a little secret. The people within these powerful groups, regardless of party or ideology, don't hate each other. They work together. They push for centralized global power and interventionism. Interventionism means war, by the way. They say their policies will bring prosperity and stability, but all we've seen is rising inequality and war after war. Their policies have failed.
Yeah, their policies brought prosperity and stability to their offshore bank accounts.
That's true.
All it did.
For decades, they've controlled foreign policy. They've created a system that intermingles public and private interests to benefit a select few at the expense of the rest of us.
American people had to bail out AIG, but most Americans still lost 40 to 50% of their retirement plans.
If we had not made that action, they would have lost 70%.
They say short-term sacrifices must be made for a better future. A better future for who? In 1970, the top 10% of the U.S. population earned 30% of total income. Now they earn almost 50%. In 1970, they owned 60% of total wealth. Now they own almost 80%. That's why I kept talking about the 2008 financial crisis. My parents lost half their retirement savings. Regular people got hurt.
More big-name companies made plans to shed workers.
The bank that got billions in free money from the taxpayers then turns around, cuts off credit to a local business, and then won't authorize workers to get a penny upon leaving with 3 days' notice. We're outraged.
Now,
I'm getting outraged, man. Like, the rich are getting richer is just an understatement now that we done listened to AJ. You know what I'm saying, man, in this freaking video. Like, they just, over time, increasing. It went from 60% to 80% of all the damn money in the world that the rich motherfuckers got. That don't even make no sense.
I believe the crash was orchestrated by one of these secret groups. No. But the crisis was caused by Wall Street greed and corrupt regulators who were members of these groups. They crashed the system and we had to bail them out.
This is mom and pop grocery stores don't get this break. When they make bad financial decisions, they go out of business. But the rich and famous Wall Street, New York City fat cats expect Joe's six-pack to buck it up and pay for all this nonsense.
We were told they're too big to fail. We could lose our homes. The economy could collapse. We have to bail out the banks, insurance companies, big car manufacturers.
It's a global financial crisis, so please take our money, raise our taxes, raise them.
And they did. And those companies were saved. And wealthy executives got even wealthier. Bear with me for a second. Our taxes funded these bonuses. James Gorman of Morgan Stanley got a $4.9 million bonus. John Stump, Wells Fargo, almost $6 million. Lloyd Blankfein, Goldman Sachs, $9 million. John Thain, Merrill Lynch, $15 million bonus. Kenneth Chenault, American Express, almost $19 million. Vikram Pandit, Citigroup, $24 million. Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase, $29 million. Robert Kelly, Bank of New York Mellon, $35 million. Lawrence M. Small, Fannie Mae, almost $43 million. While regular people lost their homes, savings, and retirement accounts, Citigroup cut Andrew Hall a bonus check for $100 million. I just read you the top 10 list. In total, about $20 billion was paid to bankers as bonuses after the bailout. Every executive and politician involved in that crisis should have gone to prison. Instead, they bought more homes, yachts, and private planes, and we paid for it.
Okay, I have never got pissed off seriously in a freaking AJ from the Wi-Fi. I can't even talk right now. AJ from the Wi-Fi's video, but right now I am pissed the F off, y'all, because this is freight. I gotta go and say it. This is bullshit. Long story short, story long. We billions, 20 billion. They already rich, first of all. You know what I'm saying, man? Second of all, that money could have went to a lot of other places that would have helped us out. And it's crazy that it's coming out of our pocket to begin with. You know, like, what the... Man, see, this go all the way back to the beginning of the video when I was talking about, like, I can't explain what I think the Illuminati is, but this might be a roundabout way of the Illuminati. Like, these rich motherfuckers, even if they don't got no power and stuff like that, just the fact that they can get so much money and control so much of the economy just because of who they are is kind of like controlling the world in a way, because they controlling the damn money, man. They getting billions of damn fucking dollars, millions of bonuses. These are they bonuses. Keep that in mind. This is a bonus. What the...
The Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, and the Council on Foreign Relations have real power over your life. They need to be watched closely. They'll present appealing ideas, global cooperation, a healthier population, a cleaner environment. We all want these. But when those ideas come from people who operate in secret, you have to ask, how does this idea benefit them? Because it always does. So what can we do? We have to elect leaders who demand transparency and accountability. But first, we have to care. We have to get off our phones, open our eyes, and get engaged. We have to stop giving up our freedom so easily.
What the hell do you think she's gonna do? Set off a shoe bomb?
This happened at Dulles Airport outside Washington. The woman's daughter complained that the search was, quote, prolonged and repetitive. It lasted for 6 minutes.
Every time there's a global crisis, the elites promise to keep us safe. All we have to do is give up a little more freedom.
And by passing the Patriot Act, we will make America safer while safeguarding our civil liberties and privacy.
A top-secret court order is forcing Verizon to turn over all phone records for calls made in the U.S. to the National Security Agency, and not just calls made to overseas numbers. When you call grandma in Nebraska, the NSA knows.
During the past week, we have heard about a series of major violations of our civil liberties, including the fact that NSA is collecting the phone records of tens of millions of Americans. This wholesale snooping on innocent Americans is an unacceptable violation of one of our most basic freedoms.
They don't seize power, we give it to them.
So the couple is vaccinated and got tested ahead of their trip to Hawaii as required. But when they arrived in Honolulu, they were ordered to quarantine in their hotel room or face arrest.
And once they acquire a new power, they don't give it back.
To require people to stay home, require people to not go to work, and to arrest people for trying to make a living. This all seems wrong. Seems wrong. Seems wrong. Seems wrong.
They do.
As long as these secret groups have power, there will always be another crisis they'll have to solve.
The humanitarian crisis.
Our response has been to the crisis.
The refugee crisis.
A crisis in the markets.
Accelerating global food crisis.
The financial crisis.
Worst of the humanitarian crisis. A fiscal crisis.
The public health crisis.
A banking crisis.
Its refugee crisis.
And a growth crisis.
The climate crisis. The climate crisis.
The crisis of the old order.
The crisis in the Central African Republic.
Crisis of indifference.
The Ukraine crisis.
Or Ebola, or a crisis.
The economic, social, and political crisis.
Humanitarian crises.
The missile crisis.
As long as these secret groups have power, there will always be another crisis they'll have to solve. They'll promise to keep us safe. We just have to give up a little more freedom. Then a little more. Then just a little more. Eventually, we'll have no freedoms left. We'll be dependent on the select few who have all the power that slowly over time we gave them. Those select few know this. They want us distracted. They want us divided. Because they know that to create a new world order, all they have to do is wait. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
All they have to do is wait, man. Shout out to freaking AJ, y'all. This was freaking great, man. This was like, I felt like I really watched a movie with y'all on this one. Seriously, man. It was more than just a video. And I did not know that we was going anywhere down this road with the Illuminati. And it go back to, like I was saying, man, this right here made me look at the Illuminati in another light. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, it could be that freaking way that he really portrayed, as far as like, and I say it two different ways. First, I'll say that some of these people, they may be part of it and don't even freaking know that they doing it. You know what I'm saying, man? But they just doing it. Like, oh my God, this stuff's so hard to try to explain to y'all, man. Like, I'm talking about as far as those people who getting those bonuses and stuff. Some of them might be rich and don't even have nothing to do with the actual Illuminati, but they guilty by association. Just the fact that they getting that money, you attributing or contributing to the freaking plan that they got going on, man. Are some of y'all following me, man? And then you can also look at it the way that they probably do know what the hell going on. You know what I'm saying? You still got those people out there where you can look at it and be like, what the Bilderberg group, something. Hey, man, it ain't proven that anything crazy going on, but it could be crazy going on. All I'm trying to say here, my brothers and sisters, that I'm not gonna believe that nobody is involved with no type of Illuminati type ish. And you know another thing about the Illuminati, it really could be called something different. Like, they probably have a whole nother word for it other than what we have for it. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel like it's some type of group in the world that's not controlling the world per se. Like, they are trying to control the world where it may be one day one government. But I do feel like they controlling the world in the sense of the money that's flowing throughout the world, the economy. And I'm talking about pretty much the whole world when I say that, because of the billions and trillions and you know what I'm saying, that just gets sent to some of these people and stuff. I do feel that. I know we have been here long enough, man. I'm just trying to get some freaking thoughts out on this video, man. It was so much freaking craziness going on. But I will say, like, that is one thing that I do feel like, regardless of if it's really them trying to take over the world, I do feel like they have already took over the world as far as like the money part, man. Freaking crazy. It's crazy to think about Michael's whole journey, and it's for it to be like 2030 when this all supposed to eventually happen, like the Unity coin and the freaking chip, like all that stuff, man. That's a couple of freaking years from now. You know what I'm saying? But anything is possible. But I hope and pray that I don't care if it's 3024. I don't want freaking chips to take over the world, man. Like, I don't want AI. I don't want chips. I don't never want human society to be controlled, especially when you're talking about one government and you add all that up in the pot. It's just terrible, man, at that time, because now we not free. But I digress. Man, like I said, if I just sit right here and think about it, my brothers and sisters, I can go on and on and on and on and on and on about this goddamn video we just watched. But I'm gonna let y'all go now, because I know we have been on here way over an hour probably now. And before y'all leave, though, I just need y'all to please, though, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that if you ain't did that yet. And also, remember this: love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.